Sir Anthony Hopkins is here. The Welsh-born Oscar winner has been acting in film for more than 30 years. He made an auspicious debut in 1968's The Lion and Winter opposite Peter O'Toole and Katharine Hepburn. But it was his role as Hannibal Lecter 10 years ago in Silence of the Lambs that propelled him to international stardom. Since then, he has starred in an unprecedented series of critically acclaimed roles, and here is a brief look at his career.
You unnatural animal. Unnatural, Mummy. You tell me what's nature's way. If poison mushrooms grow and babies come with crooked backs, if goiters thrive and dogs go mad and wives kill husbands, what's unnatural? Come here stands your lamb, come cover him in kisses is all you.
Hello, my name is John Merrick.
Hello, my name is Carl Merrick.
You can speak. Well, no gentleman call is allowed, of course. You will forgive my mentioning it, but we have had problems of that sort before, from inside the house, too. The previous housekeeper took it into her head to run off with the under-butler. If two members of staff happen to fall in love and decide to get married, there is nothing one can say.
You think stealing a horse and scratching marks on the wall makes you worthy enough to wear that mask?
Be careful.
You're a thief, Alejandro. A pitiful clown.
Well, plenty of people did their best writing in prison. Like Gandhi, Lenin. That's right. What I know about this country, I could rip it apart. So if they want a public humiliation, that's what they'll get.
Yes, they will.
I will never resign this office. Never.
Do you think if you save poor Catherine, you could make them stop, don't you? You think if Catherine lives, you won't wake up in the dark ever again to that awful screaming of the lambs?
I don't know.
Now Hopkins is returning to his most legendary character. In Ridley Scott's Hannibal, he once again portrays a psychotic and charming Dr. Lecter.
I'm afraid I have bad news for you.
Is he dead?
Did you get my note? I hope you like the skin cream. I had it specially made for you.
Is he dead, Dr. Lecter?
Clarice, there's nothing in this world that I would love more than to be able to chat with you. Unfortunately, you've caught me at an awkward moment.
I am pleased to welcome Anthony Hopkins back to this table. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's a big camp.
Yes. Yeah. You're amused by this character.
Yeah.
You find him what?
Camp. Outrageous, witty, and all the rest of it. Yeah. I added a few little things to make him a little more devilish or frightening, like saying goody goody and
goody goody.
Goody goody and okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
It's that kind of playful thing that I wanted to put in. And Ridley Scott, who's done a masterful job on the film, went along with that, and so I was pleased.
Now, how should we watch him? And there's some people are going to say, all that violence, all that sort of gore. Yeah. Others are going to say, an interesting man. Too bad he's on the wrong side of living and dying.
Well, somebody said to me the other day on the phone, they said, it would be amusing to have lunch with him as long as you're not the lunch. Yes. I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised. We did a press junket the other day over the hotel, and I'm amazed the number of women who like this film.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that too.
Yeah, and even odder, because we weren't conscious of it, I certainly wasn't, that there seems to be a romantic connection between the two of them, an obsession, longing, especially from Lecter. And I remember when we were about three-quarters of the way through the movie, filming it in Florence or wherever. No, we filmed in Florence, we were in Washington then. And Ridley Scott said, I said, how's it going? He said, I've just watched about half an hour of it, or 45 minutes edited together. He said, the weird thing is, he said, the romance is there, the love story, and which is a dangerous thing to say, because then you become conscious of it and you don't want to do it. So I said, that's interesting. But we didn't work for it, and I think the text is there in the script, that there is, because she says she thinks about him a lot, all the time. And from the Silence of the Lambs, the end, when she says, Dr. Lecter, I say, I must go now, Clarice, I'm having an old friend for dinner. That it stays with her. Yes, I'm having an old friend for dinner. And it stays with her, Dr. Lecter. But Ridley didn't, I don't think, make a conscious effort to push that. I think Hans Zimmer's music titillated a bit, you know.
This notion of the way you approach him, I mean, how do you feel about him as a character? I mean, I realize this is a job for you, but how do you...
Well, when I first read the part Silence of the Lambs, I mentioned this a few times, I knew he was the bogeyman. Yeah. And having been a child myself, I know about the bogeyman. We all do. Yeah. We all like to have a good fright. We get on the roller coaster and have our breath taken away, and then we get off and we laugh, or we go into a movie and watch Psycho or Jaws or whatever, and we jump out of our seats when whatever happens, and then we come out into the sunlight or eat our popcorn and we've given ourselves a fright. Maybe it's a need in the human soul to flirt with the darkness that's around us, because death is inevitable, and it's a harsh, violent world that we live in. It always has been. Now it's more publicized. And perhaps there's a need. I mean, when I was asked the other day, why do people seem to like Lecter? Well, maybe, for example, you don't go to the psychiatrist because you have a fright on the roller coaster. You don't say, am I unhealthy for giving myself a fright? There's a need to be scared. There's a need to give ourselves the shivers. And Lecter is the classic mythical bogeyman, I mean, the dark creature at the top of the stairs that we're afraid of when we're children.
Yeah. Let me stay with his relationship with Clarice, too. But there is, Ridley, I think, told me this in a piece that I did with him, that if she had not wanted to arrest him, even to the end, he would probably have killed her because he would not have liked her. I mean, in the end, she wanted to arrest him. She wanted in the film.
Yeah.
And that was what made her pure or something.
Tenacious.
Tenacious.
He probably would have punished her had she not fought him. And I can't remember in this film, I think there was a line, had she not tried, he would have killed her. I don't know if it's been cut.
I don't either, because I had conversations with this about so much.
But he does ask her at one point when he's trapped her, he says, would there have ever been a chance between us? And she said, not in 1,000 years. And he said, that's my girl. Because he knew, and she said, yeah, there's a chance he would have destroyed her, because she's incorruptible. And that's his great sadness, because she will never, ever find anyone. Because he has great tenderness towards her, and I think tenderness towards women. He loves women, except the nurse that he attacked because she was bothering him, you know. But I think he respects her and loves them. And there's no time for the chauvinists and the male chauvinists, who are in abundance on this movie.
You find a character in a long history of roles that you have had, like this in the first Silence of the Lambs. What does it do for you?
Well, it gave me a degree more freedom and confidence in myself as an actor, and which is hard-earned because I think most actors have a lot of self-doubt, and I did. You know, I wasn't sure. We always feel that we're frauds or phonies and all that. But in recent years, I've become, probably because I've gotten older, I've become more mellow and more at ease with myself. And the fun about this one, I hear the trackings on this one are pretty high and they expect a big box office. I don't want to be smug about it.
I'm told that too, yeah.
But the fun of it is thinking, oh, well, I'm back here again. And it's all unexpected because over the years people would ask me, are you going to make a sequel to Silence of the Lambs? I said, I have no idea. Ask Thomas Harris if he exists indeed, because he may be a figment of our imagination. Yeah. And then about 2 years ago, my agent phoned up. He said, Rick Nasati, he phoned up. He said, Tom Harris is writing the book. I said, oh, good. And I saw the proofs and all the stuff happened, you know, Jodie backed out and Jonathan Demme. And I don't think I lost a minute sleep over it. I thought, well, it'll happen. If it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And then the ingredients were put together. Ridley Scott came on board, and then I was delighted they chose Julie. Although I was initially disappointed that Jodie backed out, and of course disappointed that Jonathan backed out, but I didn't get into angst about it, because that's the gamble in this business. And I was secretly delighted when Julianne was chosen, because I worked with her before. And so it all came together. And then I went off to Florence. I still didn't believe it was going to happen. And the first day of filming was about 5th of May, I remember, last year. And I was standing on the bank of the Arno River, and the cameras were all set up. And Ridley, in his inimitable bluff way, saying, oh, well, here we are, so on. You will walk from there to there, all right? Good luck.
Good luck.
And he said, how do you feel? I said, well, I feel a bit weird after all these years coming back to this. He said, yeah, it must do. He said, it must be for you. And I said, well, then we'll have some fun with it. And that's what we did. We set out to have some fun. And some people would take offence with that, having fun, but it was, all filming can be, the fascinating thing of doing the first piece of the jigsaw, like the walk along the bank and posting the letter was the first day, and then playing the piano was the later afternoon. And you put all these jigsaw pieces together, or I don't, and then these brilliant editors and marketeers and all these people who work on a movie, they put it all together, and you sit in the movie and think, my goodness, how did they come to that?
With that, take a look at this.
Francesca de Pazzi. On a related subject, I must confess to you, I'm giving very serious thought to eating your wife.
It's very camp. It's outrageous. It's an outrageous movie. The thing about being outrageous is you have to go with it and have the courage to do it, and some people won't like it, and so be it.
But you don't care anymore, do you? I mean, you are confident, you are, it seems to me, without being psychological about it, it seems to me that you have arrived at some place where you like who you are, you essentially live alone, you do the things you want to do, you move to America, you've become a naturalized citizen of America. You're basically saying, I'm an actor, I'm a worker, I do things that I think that I want to do, right?
Well, it's as good as it gets. I couldn't, I've got nothing more to prove. Not that I, don't want to smugly sit on my laurels. The funny, peculiar trick of my life has been the moment I decided to take time off. I mean, it wasn't true I was going to retire, but I did want to take a year off. And in that year, I was helped, psychologically, I guess, to relax, lay back and say, oh, well, if I work, I work, fine. Yeah. And then my agent said, would you like to do a movie with Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible? I said, yeah, sure. I went out to Australia for a few days. They had to reshoot 3 times, which was good. And we called it Groundhog Day in the end. It's a lot of fun working with Tom. I didn't have to carry the movie or anything like that. A sense of irresponsibility in a way, and what has happened, I've come back into my life again, and Hannibal was the first movie I did since my arrest. And I'm thrilled that it's here, and it seems to be getting a lot of attention. I'm absolutely thrilled.
Do you think you've become more practical too? I mean, you view it, this is my job here.
I've always looked at it that way.
This is
well, I've always looked at acting, the so-called art of acting, in a very pragmatic, as they say, Catherine Evans said, meat and potatoes way, because it's not, these puns keep, not brain surgery, it's not curing illness.
It's not
I
brain
can't
surgery.
get away with it.
I know you
Not
can't.
brain surgery.
People appreciate that.
Yeah, but it's gotten easier, and I've always looked at it as learn your lines, show up, don't bump into the furniture. Now that's a very archaic British thing to say, but I'm not quoting it. Stanislavski said, learn your technique, learn your lines, and do it. And that, for me, is a passport to being easy and relaxed in what you do.
Would you do it differently if you were starting over?
I probably would make all the same mistakes as I'm making now, maybe, or as I was young. I worked in the method group, and the so-called method, the Stanislavski, was fascinating stuff, and I did a lot of research. And finally, after a time, I thought, I can't work this way anymore because it's so clogging up the arteries of one's creativity or ease. And the very teacher who taught me all this said, throw it all away.
Throw it away.
Throw it away. Throw it away. Learn your lines and show up and do it.
Throw it away. That's
Throw it
amazing.
Away. And that's what
now,
I tell
was
young
this a teacher
kids.
here, or was it a teacher in London?
This is in England many years ago, a guy called Christopher Vettis. He said, throw it all away, get rid of it, you don't need it. I said, well, what about all the teaching? He said, that was just a training for you. And Stanislavski said the same thing. Interestingly enough, I saw in the Actors Studio the other day, James Lippman, Ed Harris said something very, very bright and sensible, and he's a wonderful actor. One of the students there said, when I'm doing a scene, I can't seem to keep my actions and the objectives and the beats together and all that. What do you say? What would you suggest? And Ed Harris said, you don't need that. Breathe. Just do the scene. Trust yourself that it's there. Because you've got to throw the rehearsal away in the end. That's the only theory I have about acting. And I see these young kids who are tortured by gurus, they're working, kids work in restaurants trying to make a living, and they're paying these gurus, these wise guys, whoever they are, in Los Angeles and New York, fortunes to learn about acting. And I say to them, I'll teach you acting. I'll charge you $1 just for the coffee. And
What would you try to teach them, though, if you were teaching?
I teach them about, there's nothing I could really teach them except just learn your text, be at ease with it, learn the lines, learn the text, get to know it. And once you know your stuff, then you can improvise within it. You can just improvise, you can improvise anything you want to once you know your text, because you've got the core of all the information you need. You can sit in, I could have sat in a madhouse for years and tried to study how to become lector, but it wouldn't have helped me at all. It would be rather depressing. So, from my mind, maybe I'm wrong. I just feel it's unnecessary to do all that torturous work.
Do you somehow feel that this is what you were born to do? You?
Ironically, I guess it is, because I look around myself now and I think, what happened to me? Because I've got a photograph back in the hotel of me as a 3-year-old kid, and I'm sitting now looking very confused, kind of naked smile on my face. And I look at that and I think, that was me. And when I was in school, I had no idea what they were talking about. They could have been talking Martian. And I became an actor because I thought, well, I don't know what else I can do. And I wanted to get out of my father's way because he was worried about me. My parents were kind of worried for me because I had no academic ability. And I stumbled into this profession and I became whatever I've become today. And so I guess it was destiny or fate or whatever. I know extremely talented people in England and in this country, who are, and especially in England, who are technically superior to me, and yet it's a chemical thing, or maybe it's the way my face fits or my voice or whatever, but it's luck. A lot of it is luck. You have a bit of talent, and I think you have to feel for yourself that you're going to do it. I remember meeting Richard Burton. He came from my hometown in Port Talbot, and I went to his house for an autograph. And Richard was there shaving in the morning with an electric razor. I'd never seen an electric razor before. And Sybil, his wife, was sitting there. They just finished breakfast. This was a Saturday morning. And Richard was, I didn't know him at all. Well, I've only met him once after that. And he signed my autograph. As I was walking down the hill back to my father's shop in Taibach, Port Talbot, the car, the Jaguar, this great big Jaguar, zoomed past us. And Sybil waved. And I remember thinking, I want to be like him. I want to get out of this environment of my own inadequacy. Not out of Wales, but out of my own limitations. Yeah. I was 15 years of age, and I longed to escape from my own inadequacies, and things started happening. I think I must have sent a little message into the universe or into some principle of law, because it all happened, and I haven't had to put much effort into it. And I guess it's called letting go or something. I don't know what the hell it is.
But here's what's interesting, I mean, to read, and you and I have had this conversation before, there is also about you, you are perfectly happy alone.
Yeah. Well, I do have company. No,
you are the greatest of companions, but you're happy alone. You're not one of those people who's got to have people around him all the time.
Oh, no, it drives me nuts.
Drives you nuts.
God, it drives me crazy.
So you've come to this place also where you realize that you like a solitary life, to explore your own
I'm enough.
adventures.
I'm enough.
You're enough.
Yeah, I got a whole cinema screen going on in my head about what goes on. I like to read. I get in the car and drive. I haven't done my long drives for a long time. But
you used to do that. You can really get in the car and drive.
Yeah, I want to do it next year and go somewhere, maybe up northwest. And I read and I play piano, and I'm having a studio built, a small studio, and I'm very interested in writing music. And I have a synthesizer, a Kurzweil, and I have a very good friend, Susan, who's teaching me how to the techniques of orchestration. And I'm going to explore this more.
Yes, music is new to you then?
Well, I've always played piano, and I've always been interested in music, but I love making up music, and I've got a skill, I guess, that I can make up tunes. I can make up music, and
a new career.
Yeah. So I have a new career, maybe. Yeah. And I'm also trying to learn to play jazz. That's one of my regrets. I wish I could have played jazz or blues, but I'm also getting some.
But why didn't you?
I thought I didn't have the rhythm for it, so I've got to undo all that thinking and start again and learn to be. Just for the sheer pleasure of it.
Mm-hmm. Now let me come back to you just before we go here. And we're going to see, I want to see one scene from Silence of the Lambs. Let me do that now. Let's take a look. Here is Silence of the Lambs, and exactly 10 years ago it was released. Here it is.
Good nutrition's giving you some length of bone, but you're not more than one generation from poor wire trash, are you, Agent Starling? And that accent you've tried so desperately to shed, pure West Virginia. What does your father do? Is he a coal miner? Does he stink of the land?
It was great. You said as we watched that, one of the great moments, her reaction to what Lecter said.
I don't know how she did, Jodie Foster, how she did that. Because you see her face crack into 1,000 parts of grief and hurt, and she's about to break into tears, and yet she fights back. But the emotion of hurt is still... I've tried to do that. I don't know how she did it. I don't know how Jodie arrived at that. That's an extraordinary piece of acting. There's a lesson for any actor. I don't know how she got there.
That's a lesson for any actor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what she did. I don't know how she did it. You see her face crease up. She's going to cry. She's going to break down. You can see all the pain in her. And she tries to come back by shrugging. It's like, yeah. She can't do it.
When she comes back, she gets him.
No, she doesn't. She fails because he's so powerful in the way he destroys her self-esteem, and it doesn't quite come off. I think she does it. So it's one of the best moments I've ever seen on film.
Wow,
it's a great performance.
Now, see, I reacted to it differently than you did. I thought that she'd come back, and the fact that he turned on it that way and said, "Now, little Starling."
Oh yeah, maybe she did.
It was like she had scored.
Yeah.
He had her on the ropes.
Yeah.
Boxing metaphors. He had her on the ropes.
Yeah.
And was overwhelming her.
Yeah.
By taking her back to the back seat in a little FBI. But
she came back.
She came back, and he was so, and that's what he loves about her. That's what he likes about her. I mean, she can spar with him.
But he can see that he's needling. And he takes it's like she's thrown the gauntlet.
Now, was the fava beans scripted?
The speech itself, that wasn't, no. That was a disgusting thing I did right at the beginning. That was one take, and it was my first day on the film, in fact.
That was the first scene?
That was the very first scene, and...
Why?
Well, because they'd been filming months before, weeks before.
You only had 27 minutes in this entire film.
So we filmed it almost in sequence, or whatever you call it. And that was my first day. And we did the scene, and I had a little voice in my head said, "Go on, do it." Do it. I went, and I heard Jonathan just out of earshot of the microphone saying, "Oh my God." He said, "Cut." He said, "Hopkins, that is disgusting." I said, "Is it over the top?" He said, "Yeah, that's wonderful." So it happened that way.
But he didn't want another cut? Did he want you to do it again?
No, he said, "That's it.
That's it, cut. Over the top, but I'll take it. I know how good it is."
Yeah. And I remember Jodie saying, "My God, you..."
She said,
she looked at me and said, "You are disgusting." That's the best moment of acting I've ever seen from any actor. You know, her stuff there. It's amazing stuff. She didn't do anything. I don't know how she arrived at that. I was disappointed when she turned it down, but I wish her well.
No, but stay with me, because you've sort of been gentlemanly about that. You said, and first of all, you do what you appropriate. You talk about how brilliant Julianne is, and how she's different but brilliant. Why did you? I mean, you must have wanted her. You must have cared enough to say, "Do it," to Jodie.
No. No, I heard, and I thought, well, that's it. And I did meet her a few weeks later up in Santa Barbara. We're doing a film festival out there, and I said, "Well, I'm disappointed you're not going to do it naturally." She said, "I know." She said, "But Julianne will be great," and she said, "Maybe I'll come and visit you on the set sometime." I said, "Well, that would be wonderful." And of course, there's all that question. I wonder if the film will work, and I wondered if the studio will panic. And of course, they did apparently, for a few moments.
Yeah.
And then to my sheer delight, Julianne was chosen, and I'm very pleased she was, because it's a formidable performance to replace or to take over from, and she did it breathlessly. I think it was just terrific. She was nervous. I met her in Florence before we started filming. She did say, "I'm a bit nervous," and I think she was nervous after the film was made, how it had gone, and everyone has been reassuring her it's a wonderful performance.
It is.
It's different because it's a different personality.
Is Lecter different after 10 years?
Older.
Maybe
a few pounds heavier from pasta in Florence. I think sadder,
Sadder.
more lonely. They talk about a sequel to this one. I don't know if there's any more mileage in this one, but
it's up to Tom Harris.
I think I've camped it up enough. I've got to get back to normal now. But I enjoyed that side of it. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you.
It's been great.
Good. Thanks. Hannibal, starring Anthony Hopkins, Julianne Moore, and others, opening on February 9th, directed by Ridley Scott. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Having volunteered with HRC for over 9 years, I have had the opportunity to engage in a number of programs and initiatives. Nothing excites me more than our programs like Welcoming Schools that focus on making our world a better place for our youth. Welcoming Schools introduces family diversity and anti-bullying curriculum into our K-12 schools, and HRC has been a proud partner with the Clark County School District for the last 4 years, bringing this program into our community schools. Our goal is to create a welcoming environment of tolerance and acceptance, which is proven to improve educational results. As a previous middle school teacher, I understand just how important it is to create a safe and welcoming environment for all students. We see more teachers and administrators stepping up to take a stand against bullying, and we are very thankful for that. And we are also seeing more and more students, even those who identify as straight, taking a stand for LGBTQ rights. Tonight, we are very excited to have 2 of these courageous students here with us. Their student council advisor at Desert Oasis High School, Miss Leslie Wright, has joined me to tell you... She's joined me to tell you a little bit more about these 2 gentlemen.
As student council advisor at Desert Oasis High School, I've witnessed many a promposal over the years, but none quite like Jacob asking Anthony to prom. That day, I remember screenshotting Anthony's Twitter post of the photo of the boy standing beside the "You're hella gay" poster. And I sat at lunch on Facebook and uploaded the photo and wrote the caption that just said, "Just proud of my kids." To me, they aren't straight Jacob or gay Anthony. They're just my student council kids who make it their mission to ensure that everyone in our school belongs. At the core of Jacob's promposal was the desire to make sure that Anthony knew that he belonged. 2 days later at our state student council conference, we found out that the photo had gone viral, and CNN called, and then Ellen called. I tell the boys that someday they'll understand and realize the impact that they had on the world, and as one Twitter post sums it up, what you did reverberated through continents and inspired people. They've certainly inspired me. Please take a look at the screen and see some of the clips about the promposal.
Prom season is pretty high pressure for most teens, but for gay teens surrounded by mostly straight friends, it can be something else entirely.
This is Anthony. Earlier this week, he tweeted that he wants a date. I just want to go with a guy. I don't need to date you in the long run. I just want to take a guy to my prom. Well, his best friend, Jacob, saw the tweets, and the next day, this is what Anthony was greeted with at school.
You walk out of class, and you see a sign in the hallway, and you find out that Jacob wants to go to prom with you.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, at first I was like, wait, why is there a sign? Why is everyone crowded over there? I'm like, I want to go over there and see who's getting asked. Like, I want to be a part of that. And then they open up the sign, and then I see it, and then all I see is Jacob with his arms wide open. I was like, that's for me.
That is amazing. That is so adorable. If that can't be an example for people in the world to know that we just, there are some schools out there that don't support this and wouldn't allow this to happen, and it's really a shame because prom is very important to a lot of people, and I couldn't love this story more.
I was that gay high school kid who wanted to take another guy to prom, and I wasn't brave enough to do it, and I just think this is really cool. And of this straight best friend to say, I'm going to do this for my friend.
It's amazing when you know somebody, it helps change your mind.
Anthony actually was the reason I began to support gay rights because he's such a convincing person. He can convince anyone of anything. He's such a great speaker, and he convinced me that I should support this, and it's a great cause. So now I just start defending it more and more, and now look where we are.
I couldn't be more proud. Please help me welcome Anthony Martinez and Jacob Lazinski.
Hello, everybody. My name's Jacob Lazinski, and this is Anthony Martinez, and we are so excited to be here. Thank you all so much. It's been so awesome, and it's amazing. Thank you. So Anthony has been one of my best friends for 2 years now, and asking him to promise something I would have done any day, any time, without the fame, with it. He is my best friend, and asking him was very important to me. I knew it would make him so happy, and that was something I was willing to fight all the haters, all of the judgment, all the people saying that it wasn't okay for, just to make sure he was happy. And not only would it make him happy, but he definitely deserved it. He deserved a guy to ask him to a dance, because he told me once that he was never going to go to a dance with a girl, even though all these girls wanted him to ask him to dances, more than girls wanted me to ask them to dances. And it seemed like such a simple idea, just asking my friend to prom, but in the end it became something that has been slowly changing the world, to be honest. And I know it made him very happy, and I would not change a thing about that. And last Saturday, we were actually at prom. So right now, actually at 9 o'clock, we were at the prom. And I never imagined a week later we would be here with all of you guys at the Human Rights Campaign event. And thank you all so much. We're so excited to be here.
I'm a little short. Okay. When Jacob first asked me to prom, I was in disbelief. At first, I thought it was meant for someone else, but I wouldn't have chosen anyone else to attend my first dance with. Although I was thrilled to go to prom with Jacob, I didn't really understand the significance of this. I figured he was just being a great friend. Then I stepped back and I thought, how many straight guys would ask their gay friend to prom? How many friends would ask their gay friend to prom with a huge poster, a big crowd of friends, just like everyone else? And I realized Jacob was 1 in a million. Most of the responses we received are really positive, but some told us stories of the discrimination they face. And Jacob and I are really happy that our friends, classmates, and teachers were so supportive, but there's still a lot of work to do. And that's why I plan on becoming more involved in LGBTQA equality movement, because I know LGBTQA people throughout the world face discrimination every day for being who they are. I know one day soon that we'll look back on Jacob's promposal and it will be a social norm. Thank you for recognizing us.